Welcome to the listening section of the TOEFL mock test, brought to you by Spinta. This section measures your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. In this section, you will listen to several conversations and academic lectures. Each conversation and lecture is followed by a number of questions. You will hear each conversation or lecture only one time. You may take notes while you listen. You may use your notes to help you answer the questions. Some of the questions will replay part of the audio for you. Answer the questions based on what is stated or implied by the speakers. You must answer each question before moving on. You cannot return to previous questions in this section.
Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about how coastal ecosystems respond to sea level rise and what adaptive management strategies can help them persist. Coastal habitats like salt marshes and mangrove forests are dynamic. They can migrate landward as sea level rises if there is room and sediment supply. But when migration is blocked by human infrastructure, we get a phenomenon called coastal squeeze, which reduces habitat area and biodiversity. To understand the processes, we need to think about accretion and subsidence. Accretion is the buildup of sediment that can raise marsh elevation, while subsidence is the sinking of land, often accelerated by groundwater extraction or compaction. Together, these determine whether a wetland keeps pace with sea level rise. Let me give you a concrete case study. The Sundarbans region in South Asia provides a useful example. Over the last 50 years, researchers have documented a landward shift of mangrove species of about 1 kilometer as relative sea level changed. This movement shows the capacity of vegetation to track rising water when corridors are available. By contrast, look at parts of the Louisiana coast. There, wetland loss is driven by reduced sediment delivery from rivers and rapid subsidence. Managed realignment and sediment augmentation have been used in experimental projects to rebuild marsh elevation and restore habitat. When we consider why these ecosystems matter, we should remember their ecosystem services. They buffer storm, surge, protect shorelines, and store so-called blue carbon in sediments. These benefits translate into economic and social value for coastal communities, which is important when making policy decisions. There are several technical tools available to managers. First, managed realignment, which is the intentional breaching or removal of hard defenses to allow landward migration. Second, sediment augmentation, where sand or mud is added to raise elevations. Third, creating migration corridors by removing barriers and acquiring land for habitat movement. Finally, living shorelines that use vegetation and natural materials to stabilize coasts rather than hard seawalls. A striking example comes from mangrove forests, which have migrated inland as sea levels rise but are now trapped behind levees and urban areas. That trapped condition creates a difficult management problem. You can either invest in soft solutions that create space for migration or rely on hard defenses that protect property but sacrifice habitat. Each choice has trade-offs and distributional consequences for different social groups. I want to emphasize the social justice dimension. Poorer communities often lack resources to relocate or to fund large engineering works, yet they disproportionately rely on natural coastal defenses. The loss of mangroves or marshes therefore increases vulnerability in those communities. From a research perspective, we need integrated models that combine geomorphology, ecology, and socioeconomics. We also need long-term monitoring to detect thresholds where ecosystems can no longer keep pace and to evaluate the effectiveness of interventions. In conclusion, coastal ecosystems have some capacity to adapt to sea level rise, but human barriers and land use decisions often prevent natural responses. Managed realignment, sediment augmentation, and migration corridors are promising strategies, but they require careful planning and attention to equity. Next week, we will look more closely at modeling techniques used to predict marsh elevation trajectories and how uncertainty in those models affects policy recommendations. Thank you.
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
A striking example comes from mangrove forests, which have migrated inland as sea levels rise, but are now trapped behind levees and urban areas.
For more TOEFL mock tests, as well as IELTS and Cambridge practice, visit www.spinta.org. We provide updated tests every single day, AI feedback for your speaking and writing responses, and access to a wide range of high-quality mock tests to help you prepare with confidence.